Hey everybody, it's Matt Tommey here in Asheville's River Arts District. I'm covered with materials, and one of the things people love to see in the studio here is all the materials that I collect over the year to really do all the things that I do. It's also one of the big reasons people take classes from me is to learn how to work with different materials, natural materials. And I was thinking, just kind of as a way to help a lot of you guys that are basket makers out there learn to really what I call speak the language of natural materials. I wanted to kind of show you some of the things that I use on a regular basis and give you three main kind of categories so that you could really learn yourself to start speaking the language of natural materials. Because for me, the whole thing started with, it started with kudzu, which is my favorite. But it really started with just this learning some basic things about basketry, about how to prepare certain materials, and then just a whole lot of experimentation after that. So want to start out with the first thing, which is vines, which is my favorite thing. So if you're living in an area, and this could be anywhere in the country, so Northeast, I'm in the Southeast, out West, up North, in the Northwest, whatever. Lots of different vines that are available. Obviously, you want to stay away from poison ivy, poison oak, things like there. I always say if it's hairy, be wary. So if it's like growing on a tree and it's got hair coming off of it, just leave it alone. But everything else, I use a ton of different materials. So this is kudzu. Now this is, if you've watched any of my kudzu videos or read any of the blogs or taken a class, you know that we harvest kudzu and split it and let it dry. So that's what this is, split. Also wisteria, I use wisteria runners, which are fabulous. If you love like round reed and you want to, you could use this with the bark on it or boil it and take the bark off of it. Really, really fabulous. Honeysuckle, it's got a fabulous bark on it. So if you're like a paper maker or you love to put fiber, do other kind of fiber work, spin it even, honeysuckle bark is great for that. But honeysuckle is a really kind of wonky sculptural vine that's really great. Bittersweet, which is a big chunky vine we have here all over the East Coast, which is great. Also, things like grapevine. I mean, who doesn't love grapevine with all the little tendrils and all that sort of thing. So any vine, let's just kind of take vines as a category. Typically, you're going to harvest vines in the wintertime because the sap is down. You're going to, bring those in, immediately boil them to get any little bugs and travelers and that sort of thing off of them. Store them in a cool, dry place. And then when you're ready to use those, you'll boil them again, all right? And that's going to help, especially things like grapevine, bittersweet, wisteria, honeysuckle, things that are real woody, even big, thick kudzu. That's going to help them soften down. And then also things like kudzu, you don't have to necessarily boil it. You just put it in really hot water and like a hot tap water for about 15 minutes or until it's just really pliable. You can wrap it around your finger and that sort of thing. So that's vine. So harvest in the wintertime, boil or really hot water, and weave to your heart's content. Second thing, foliage. Let's talk about that. I'm a big gardener, so I love the ability to take things out of my garden. So I love iris and daylilies and red hot poker and other kind of foliage, things like that. Even I grew up in Georgia, so we had like those long leaf pine needles, that you can use. Lots of different things. But again, things like this is Siberian iris here. You can do the same thing with daylilies or other kind of things out of your garden. But just cut these right after they bloom. Again, even cattails. You want to lay them out in a cool, dry place, to dry. You can even leave them out in the sun. Like a lot of people take a screen and put it out in the sun and just keep these turning. Let them dry real good. And then once you've got them completely done, then you can put them in a cool, dry place to hang or things like that and let them continue to use. But these are fabulous if you love detail work. Obviously, lots of other grasses and sedges, maidenhair fern, lots of different things that are out there that you can use in the foliage kind of area. But again, you want to dry it in the sun, dry it, really good, and then store it in a cool, dry place. Usually, I'll tie it or either put a needle and thread through these and hang them like that. It looks like I'm making hula skirts, but not really. And then the last thing, so that's vines, foliage of lots of different kinds. The last thing, one of my favorites, is bark. And so bark you're going to harvest not in the wintertime like the vines, but you're going to harvest that in the summertime late spring, early summer, when the sap is rising in trees. And really, I would experiment in your area. You know, for me, my go-to bark is poplar bark. And so just like people would use cedar bark or hickory or things like that, I'm going to use the inner bark of poplar. Also the outer bark, if off some saplings, you get a really beautiful kind of look for that. For twill weaving, for random weave. This poplar inner bark is what I use as my go-to for all of my sculptural baskets. But there's also things like hickory. This is black willow, outer bark and inner bark off the sapling. Mimosa bark, if you got mimosa trees, they're invasive, and they're one of my favorite barks. And then also other invasives like royal paulownia, which is really beautiful. It's got this kind of polka dotted bark in there. But again, you want to harvest those late spring, early summer. You just chop down that tree, and then usually you're working with invasive trees or trees that it's okay to chop down if they're thinning out a forested area or whatever. But take the bark off of that, and you can see some other videos that I have on harvesting bark. But 3 different groups of materials that you don't have to pay anything for. You just have to start going outside and learning how to speak the language of natural materials, and then let those materials begin to speak to you as you create your own baskets. Hey, thanks a lot for watching this video, and hey, I hope you'll come take a class from me here in Asheville. I do 5 or 6 a year, and you can find out all about that on my website at matttommey.com. Thanks a lot. Until next time, hope you're having a happy weaving time. All right, bye.